Okay, so today for this month's Fearless Fridays interviews, I'm here with Ruth Kudzi, who, again, I met in the Freedom Hackers group on Facebook, which is a group run by Kimra Luna for entrepreneurs and so-called freedom hackers, as she calls them. So, Ruth, maybe you could start by telling us a little bit about who you are and where you've come from and what you're doing today.
Okay, so I am now a coach. I'm a business and life coach for women, and I specialise in working with women to develop their confidence, on career changing, and on starting their own business. And it's predominantly I work with mums. Mm-hmm. So I used to be a senior leader in a secondary school, and I was a senior leader in secondary school for 6 years. And I recently made the career change and decided to set up my own business to give me more flexibility around my children and also to do something that I really love.
Love it. And you mentioned the flexibility there and having time with your children. Was there a moment at which you felt now is the right time, and what was it that drove you to make the change at that time?
I think when I had my first daughter, I started thinking about it before I even started maternity leave, when I was pregnant. I started thinking, I want to do something that's going to allow me to take her and pick her up from school. And as I worked in a school, I could never do that, which is quite ironic. So I started the process then, but it was when I had gone back to work and became pregnant with my second daughter that I realised that something would have to change, because there was no way that I could juggle the pickups, the drop-offs with two of them and do everything I needed to do at work, because I had to physically be at work at set times. Mm-hmm. And that just made everything else really difficult to do and to do it properly.
And once you'd made that decision, what was the hardest thing about making the change? What was the biggest challenge you faced?
I started my business when I was pregnant. So there was a time when I was pregnant, I had a toddler, and I was working full time. So that was about 7 or 8 months ago. And that was really challenging. It was really challenging to have the energy, being heavily pregnant, to come home and speak to clients on the phone, to start setting up all of the systems that I needed to set up. So that was really challenging. And then because I'm working on my own business, I have been working on it throughout my maternity leave. So my youngest is still a baby. So I have been working on it. And I think it's the balancing. So making sure that still spending enough time with her, and I'm going to mummy classes and she knows that she's very loved, with making sure that my business is growing, and everything's working there. So it is a bit of a balancing act. Yeah. She is actually in the room at the moment as well.
Okay, well, that's a great balancing act. You're doing well there. And where did you get the support then during this time to make the change?
So I think I got a lot of support from my fiance, my partner, and I got quite a lot of support from my family in helping me with childcare, both when I was setting it up. So at that point, they'd help with childcare in the evenings, and now helping out with childcare. So, for example, I'm doing a postgraduate certificate in coaching, which I'm finishing off, and my brother is looking after my 2 daughters in the interim before their dads can get home from work. So I've been really lucky to have family and my partner, but I've also started having a look and using additional help. So Childmind, I've got a childminder now who helps look after my daughter in my house. So I'm physically there for her and I can feed her, but I can also do my work. And that's working really well. Mm-hmm. Because before I was finding I was trying to look after her and do my work at the same time, and it's just impossible. Basically,
I can imagine. And you've mentioned quite a few of the sort of the practical concerns there. What about more of a mindset? Often people talk about the fears that come with sort of leaving a job that you're familiar with and diving into the entrepreneurial world.
Yeah, I think I had a lot of fears. I think the reason I didn't do it sooner is because I didn't feel that I was good enough, and I was worried about failure, and I was holding myself back. And I actually worked with a coach on looking at some of my beliefs and my fear of failure. And that kind of gave me the push to actually do it, because I wasn't going to do it unless I changed my beliefs about myself. Mm-hmm. From that, I do quite a lot of things. I do like affirmations every day, like every morning and every evening, to try and create that positive mindset. I do quite a lot of meditation. I have been trying to do it every day, but I haven't been doing it every day for for the last few weeks. So I do kind of meditation and things to try and always keep me in that positive mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot of it is about mindset. Doing coaching and coming from a psychology background, I know that it's all from you, and you have to believe it. And I think the reason it took me a while to make that leap is because I didn't believe that I could be successful. And it's only now that I believe it that I am. So.
And what's driven you to believe it now? Was there a particular change, or it's just, as you said, working on sort of your mindset, working through those affirmations, working with your coach?
I think all of that has helped. I think the mindset, the affirmations, the coach, all of that has really helped. I think for me as well, it's getting the positive feedback from clients has really helped me develop, because even when I was just working with friends of friends who weren't paying me anything and they were coming back and they were giving me really positive feedback, I started to really believe in myself more. So I guess the recommendation I would say to people, if you're thinking about it, start small and do things for free to begin with, because that's how you build up your confidence and that's how you build up your skills.
And you mentioned at the start, one of the reasons for leaving and creating this business was sort of the flexibility and the freedom. What would you say is the best part of your new lifestyle and working arrangement?
I think it's that I can choose. So I can say, on a Monday, I'm going to do this with my daughter in the morning and this with her in the afternoon. And therefore, I'm only going to work these set times. I'm only going to take clients on these set times. I think I find it a bit more challenging sometimes when I've got something, when I'm trying to do an online course and develop it, which I have been, or I'm trying to, look at my social media strategy to be as strict with myself. And that's kind of something that I'm working on the whole time, to make sure that I keep that balance and that I'm not working all the time, because as an entrepreneur, you could just spend all of your time working. There's always something that you can do, and you have to remind yourself why you set it up, because otherwise it's just as bad as working for someone else.
Yes, I find that fascinating. I'm really interested in this, and you mentioned the word balance before too, but there's sort of tension as well between the freedom and the flexibility on the one hand and the routine and discipline on the other. I think, like you, I found that I've been incredibly self-motivated and worked much harder than probably I did in the corporate job, which was maybe not what I expected. So it's an interesting balancing act to sort of keep that discipline, but also, as you said, remember why you're doing this, and make sure you sort of put the phone and the computer down and go off with your children or go running or whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah, I think you have to be incredibly disciplined, but I think it's also a great learning curve for you, because you can start realizing as well, which I've done, about what you're good at and what you're not good at. And what I'm not good at, I'm just outsourcing more now. So things like I've got a virtual assistant who does things for me. I've got a website designer now who's doing all my rebranding my website, and he's going to help me with my landing pages. I've got someone who helps me create the best ad copy. All of those things that were taking me ages to do, and I was doing on my own, I realised that actually it's cheaper, because if you think about your hourly rate and what you're charging clients, and then what people are paying you, what you're paying, and then you're spending like 5 hours doing something that you could pay someone $20 for, and they do in half an hour. It's ridiculous. So it's been a big learning curve for me.
Yeah, I think that's a tough one, isn't it? Knowing what you can and can't do, and don't worry, though, you're perfectly illustrating the balancing act of work and personal life.
Illustrating the balancing act, because somebody's got a bit of a cold, so they had to stay with me.
Okay. Well, we'll wrap things up in a minute so you can go back to focusing on what's important. But maybe then to end with, if you had someone in mind like you, maybe who wanted to spend more time with their family, who was having young children, or just in general wanted to have more time for family, what one piece of advice would you give them in that situation?
I think I'd say to them to go for it, but I'd say before they go for it, be really clear about why they're doing it and what exactly they want to get out of it. So if they need to earn a certain salary, they need to do their research and make sure they can earn that salary. If they want to only work 3 days, they need to make sure that will be viable for them. So I think any woman can do it. I think, any woman can go out and set up on their own, but you have to be realistic about what you want to achieve and why you're doing it. And your why has to be really important to you, because, my why is spending more time with my children. That's my main driver. Now, if that wasn't important to me, when I'm having a really bad week and, things aren't going to plan, my website looks awful, my ad isn't working, whatever's going on, if I didn't have a strong why, then I wouldn't keep going. So that's the most important thing, I think.
Yeah. Oh, great. That's very important to bring it back to, as you said, to why your purpose and understanding what you're really there for. That's a lovely reminder. And then finally, where can we find you? It's great to have someone in the UK. You don't usually get a lot of English people. So if we'd like to find out more about the coaching that you do and maybe enlist your services, how can we find you online?
Okay. So I'm based in London, but most of my clients, they're worldwide. So I do a lot of Skype and a lot of phone. So you can find me. My website is www.ruthkudzicoaching.com, and that's currently being redone. Hopefully when this comes out, it will have been redone.
Perfect.
And then on Instagram, it's Ruth Kudzi Coach. It's the same on Twitter. On Facebook, I've got a page which is Ruth Kudzi Coaching, but my most active area on Facebook is I've got a group called Career Change Mums, and that's a really lovely, supportive, active group. It's got about 550 members now, so that's a really nice space.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations on your success.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth.